Tony, first of all, you're new to our Tillamook. They call it Tillamook District, don't they?
They call it Tillamook Workstation, yes.
Tillamook Workstation. Okay. And how long have you been in law enforcement?
Almost 25 years now.
Almost 25 years. Where did you start?
I actually started in Northern California in a small town, Susanville.
Susanville. My mother used to go there for something. It was an annual conference, and all of these, some odd people used to get together. The lovely bunch they were.
Well, Susanville is generally known for their state prison, but there are other...
No, that wasn't where she was at. But anyway, but then you finally decided to make the move to Oregon, or?
Well, actually made several moves throughout my career. I spent a number of years in the Susanville area, both in the Susanville Police Department and the Lassen County Sheriff's Office as a deputy there. And then I went to Fresno, California, and spent a good 14-plus years working the city of Fresno Police Department.
It's going to have to be a different environment than up here.
It's very different.
Yeah.
During that time, I was able to work a number of different positions, a federal task force in computer crimes and fraud. And I also was able to work for a short while with the Department of Motor Vehicles Investigations down there. And then we moved up here back in 2011 for family.
Mm-hmm.
Was living up here in Tillamook. So we moved up here, and I started working with the Salem Police Department. Spent just over 3 years with the Salem Police Department before I was able to come over here and work locally.
Excellent. And we've got a great department. I mean, I really appreciate Sergeant Plummer. What a good guy.
Oh, I love him.
He's a really good guy. I like Greg. And then, but one of the things that our agencies all work well together. It probably is nice to be out there with the sheriff's office, in fact.
It is. It's very nice. We form close relationships with them, and we work well together, and we help each other out whenever something comes up. We try and fill in the gaps and make sure everything gets covered.
Now, I often think that when our troopers are more out on the road, is that necessarily true?
Well, that would generally depend on their assignments.
Okay.
You have some assigned to the patrol division, which most people are familiar with, seeing on the roadways. Then you have the fish and wildlife troopers that are in the forests.
Todd Hoodenpile,
exactly,
great guy.
Exactly. And then we do have a criminal division where we have detectives assigned.
Okay. So it is a pretty broad reach. I don't think we see, the ones we see is what we think of. And boy, Tony, just recently, I mean, it seems like, again, just the other day, lost someone up on Highway 6. What's the best thing? What's a good recommendation that we can give people?
Well, there's lots of things going on right now. I think right now we're having the influx of the tourists again.
True.
And a lot of people who aren't familiar with the area or the roads, and they're tending to drive slowly. So it's important that we allow some extra time, because we're going to have to allow for them, and it's so hard to get around them all.
Yeah. You're just going to come up upon another bunch of them anyway.
And unfortunately, most of them don't understand the Oregon law. It does require them to pull over and let traffic move through if they are not going the speed limit.
Mm-hmm. And I guess that's it. It is frustrating. I mean, I drive that. In fact, I'm going to be up the next few weekends because I have my family is in the Gresham area, and I know not to follow too close, but every once in a while it is frustrating because you think it's really not. There's nothing to see. Would you just please drive or get over? But anyway, I know to give myself a lot more time, and what I usually do, I'll leave here at 4 a.m. And then I can avoid them for the most part.
There you go. That's planning ahead. So that would be one thing to do. Another thing to remember is that we do have a couple more weeks of school, a couple more weeks of school. So the buses are still out there, and the kids are still getting on the buses in the mornings. And always remember that we shouldn't be drinking before we're driving.
Exactly.
Plan ahead, get a sober driver.
And now, gosh, people, we've had had our holiday, Memorial Day last weekend. And as you said, we're going to have, and we're inviting more and more people here. The month of, I want to say, maybe it was first quarter, I was visiting with our tourism director, Nan, up 28% on the,
wow.
And so that much, but it's been really good weather. Everybody wants to go to the beach, and now we're inviting more and more people here. And believe it or not, I mean, some of them act like they don't know where they're going, or they've never seen an ocean before.
A lot of them haven't seen an ocean before.
And we're lucky to be able to share this area with people. But that being said, what are some of the ways that we can help?
Well, I think pre-planning is probably number one.
Okay.
If you have to be somewhere at a certain time, make sure you allow yourself plenty of time, because you never know what you're going to come across. That would be very important. Another thing would be to make sure you're not driving crazy, because a lot of the people we have a problem with where they get behind cars, and some people will make bad passes just to get around them. And
no, they just seem like they're angry sometimes. They get up right behind you, and the only thing you can see is their hood, and I'm thinking, but there's no place I can go. There's a truck right in front of me.
Exactly.
So, and the courtesy of the road.
The courtesy of the road. We're all trying to get someplace, some faster than others.
My grandfather, Dad would be upset if he heard me say that. My dad was a truck driver, and I remember this was years ago. This was a good driver. He had 3 million miles of safe driving, which means essentially 30 years behind the wheel of a truck without a chargeable accident. And he said, one of the things I remember when he got the 2 million mile award, he said his advice to drivers was, don't lose your cool when somebody makes a bad move in front of you. Just be calm, and it's sometimes it's easier said than done. My mother was a scary driver. She was, I thought. So, but I was lucky to have my father, who was just the opposite of mother. I got a kick out of it. A good friend, she said, I always thought your mom was mad or something. I said, no, she just drives like that. But again, I think it's the best thing to do is just give yourself a little extra time. Know that we have more people on the road, and not everybody is going to drive the way you want them to drive.
That's correct. And if they see something that's really concerning, give us a call. We try to get out to everything that we get notified of.
And that's what I was visiting one time with Greg, and that's what I said. When somebody's doing something really dumb, he says, it's 911, Shayna. I mean, if you see a crime of someone that's driving erratically, or you can tell that they seem like they're drunk, luckily a lot of my car, you can just tell it to dial 911, and it will. Exactly. Because there's things that we shouldn't be doing. We should wear our seatbelt. We should not be using our cell phones and texting and those. Do you see, are people getting a little better than now?
No.
People are still. Just the other day, I saw this fellow just sitting there talking on his phone. No, you don't get to do that.
Yeah, people still talk on their phones. People still text, and it has been the cause of some accidents. Yeah. Distracted driving is one thing that we need to be aware of, especially with the tourists that aren't paying attention to maybe where they're going, or looking at the scenery. And if you're down looking at your phone, you're not going to see that they're going so slow. And we're getting a lot of rear ends.
You know, interesting. That's what I like to pride myself on. It sounds kind of odd, on not using my brakes, staying back far enough so that I can just let my foot off the accelerator when I see, this morning coming into the station, here's 15 cars, bumper to bumper. Well, it was easy enough for me to stay my 80 feet back, and I can drive without having to keep hitting my brake. And
exactly.
Yeah.
Give yourself some time to stop.
Yeah.
Because you never know if they're going to stop in front of you.
And I've seen that, and I suppose you have.
Yes.
As a trooper, you said, people, it would have been so easy for us not to be here.
Exactly. Most accidents are avoidable.
Yeah. What made you decide to go into law enforcement?
I had a grandfather and an uncle that were in law enforcement, and always was real impressed with them and their uniforms, and when I see them come home from work and so forth, and the stories that they told was probably my primary motivation.
Nice. It was a great career. My brother retired. It'll be now 2 years from Gresham after 37 years. He was, but a great life, and now, of course, you know what he's doing for. He can't quit working.
Oh no!
So he's got his private investigator's license, and he's still working.
You got to stay busy.
You got to stay busy. Tony, thank you a lot for stopping by and visiting with us.
No problem.
And welcome to Tillamook.
Thank you.
All right.